The Grand Canyon's Egyptian Cave. In 1909, a newspaper called the Arizona Gazette printed a sensational story about a vast underground city inside the Grand Canyon, filled with Egyptian statues, hieroglyphs, and mummies, supposedly explored with the Smithsonian Institution. It became the perfect band discovery, a lost civilization hidden by the establishment. There is just one problem. The Smithsonian has no record of the expedition, the named explorers cannot be verified, and no such cave has ever been found. The whole thing appears to be an early piece of clickbait, a golden age tabloid hoax. But the story never died. It became the seed for 100 cover-up theories. The real lesson is not that Egypt reached Arizona. It is how easily one unverified article can turn into a century of forbidden knowledge legend. The Dead Sea Scrolls Monopoly. Scholars found the Dead Sea Scrolls near Qumran in 1947. A small team controlled access to many of them for almost 40 years. Outside researchers could not get photographs or transcriptions, and some waited decades to study the material. Critics called it the academic scandal of the 20th century. In 1991, a California library released a full set of photographs and broke the monopoly. The texts did not expose a world-shaking secret. They showed fragments, disputes, and slow scholarship. The scandal came from control. One of humanity's great archives sat out of reach for a generation. Qin Shi Huang's sealed tomb. The terracotta army guards China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. His burial mound sits nearby, unopened. Chinese authorities have kept excavators out because the risks are real. Ancient texts describe rivers of mercury flowing through a map of the empire, and soil tests around the mound show high mercury levels. A rushed excavation could poison workers and destroy fragile objects as air and light hit the chamber. For now, researchers scan from outside and wait for tools that can enter without wrecking the tomb. Kennewick Man. In 1996, two men found a skeleton more than 9,000 years old in Washington state. Native American tribes claimed him as an ancestor under a law protecting indigenous graves. Scientists argued the bones were too old to link to any living group and fought for access. Lawsuits kept the skeleton locked away for years. Courts later allowed study, and DNA confirmed a connection to Native American populations. Officials returned the remains, and tribes reburied them in 2017. Kennewick Man became a fight over science, sovereignty, and who has the right to speak for the dead. The Baghdad Battery. A Baghdad museum once held a small clay jar with a copper cylinder and an iron rod inside. Some writers claim the 2,000-year-old object could have produced a faint electric current. The internet turned it into proof of lost ancient technology. Many archaeologists saw a scroll container, not a power source. In 2003, looters took the artifact from the Iraq Museum before researchers could settle the question. The evidence vanished. Now the debate rests on photographs, old reports, and the absence of the object itself. The Ica stones. In Peru's Ica desert, carved stones appeared showing people riding dinosaurs, performing surgery, and using telescopes. Believers called them suppressed evidence of a forgotten age. The main supplier later admitted he carved many of them himself using images from books and magazines, then baked them to make them look old. He changed his story afterward, but the stones kept giving him away. The dinosaurs matched outdated illustrations, including errors modern paleontology had corrected. The Ica stones show how much people want the impossible to survive contact with evidence. The Rongorongo tablets. Easter Island produced Rongorongo, a set of wooden tablets covered in rows of tiny carved figures. Scholars still argue over whether it records true writing or serves as a memory aid. Colonial violence, disease, missionary pressure, and cultural destruction broke the chain of readers. People burned much of the wood, lost it, or used it for fuel. A few dozen tablets survive in museums. No living person can read them. Rongorongo was not locked in a vault. The knowledge died with the people who understood it. The Bosnian Pyramids. Near Visoko, Bosnia, a businessman claimed several hills were giant man-made pyramids older and larger than Egypt's. Tourists came fast. Archaeologists and geologists pushed back, calling the project pseudo-archaeology. They identified the hills as natural formations and warned that digging could damage medieval and Roman sites in the area. The fight around Visoko shows a different kind of forbidden history story. A claim can outrun the evidence, bring crowds, and keep moving after specialists reject its foundation, the Glozel artifacts. In 1924, a young farmer in central France uncovered a pit filled with inscribed tablets, bones, and objects marked with an unknown script. Some scholars saw a lost European writing system, others saw fraud. The dispute became the Glozel affair, split researchers into camps, and led to forgery accusations and legal action. Authorities closed the site for years, and the objects sat beyond open study. Later tests produced mixed results. Some items looked old, others did not. Glozel never resolved into hoax or treasure. It settled into an awkward silence. The Nazca alien mummies. In 2017, a group presented mummified bodies from Peru with elongated skulls and three-fingered hands. They claimed the bodies came from non-human beings. The story spread as proof of ancient aliens. Peruvian scientists and cultural authorities reacted with anger. Researchers concluded that fabricators had assembled the bodies from human and animal bones to look otherworldly. Peru condemned the affair because it damaged archaeological heritage and may have disturbed real ancient remains. The Nazca mummies belonged to the camera age, engineered for attention, then pulled apart under scrutiny. Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey changed archaeology because it was real. Researchers uncovered massive carved stone pillars arranged in circles and dated them to about 11,000 years ago, before pottery, farming, and cities. That date challenged the old story that monuments and organized religion came after agriculture. Hunter-gatherers had built something vast and ceremonial far earlier than scholars expected. Authorities have reburied large sections and restricted access to protect the fragile site. Göbekli Tepe forced archaeologists to move the beginning of civilization into stranger ground. The Sphinx's hidden chambers. Rumors have long claimed that rooms, tunnels, or a hall of records lie beneath the Great Sphinx of Giza. Surveys have detected cavities and anomalies in the bedrock, the kind of details that feed legends. Egyptian authorities restrict drilling and invasive testing around the monument because the Sphinx is fragile, priceless, and threatened by erosion and groundwater. Treasure hunters could do more harm than any secret chamber could repay. The strongest reason to forbid deep digging under the Sphinx is preservation. Some mysteries survive because forcing an answer would destroy the thing we came to study.